Welcome to another 4 Reels recap, where this time we're watching Uglies on Netflix. The movie takes place in a dystopian future, where everybody is forced to get plastic surgery at the age of 16. As the opening explains it, this means the complete elimination of jealousy, which means a world at peace. Good job, everybody. But in any case, the people who have got the surgery are referred to as pretties, and those under the age of 16 who are waiting for the surgery are called Uglies. Here we have Joey King playing one of the Uglies named Tally. I mean, look at her, just bleh. The day for her surgery can't come fast enough, am I right? Really though, we can't hire actually ugly people to play the Uglies? Is that where we are?
You know what, just move past it, tell the story, please.
Anyway, this Uggo Tally sneaks off to meet up with her friend Paris, who she calls Nose, cause she's kind of a dick. But anyway, Paris calls her Squint, which sounds a little racist, but I know it's not, so whatever. They get to talking about their upcoming operations. Tally's won't happen for another 3 months, but Paris gets his tomorrow, so Tally's not gonna waste any time throwing some more shade.
The ghost of that giant nose will haunt you forever.
What a dick. They make a promise to remain best friends, and to not have their matching scars removed. They make plans to meet up in a month so that Paris can tell her all about what the pretty world is really like. And the next day, they say their goodbyes and he is off. We then get a flashback showing how Tally and Paris first met. They quickly bond talking about how ugly they are. Then we get the background on their matching scars. One fine day, Paris decides to smash Tally's iPad and cuts his hand on the broken shards. I'm guessing that was at least a Generation 15. But because they're such good friends, Tally immediately picks up a shard of glass and cuts herself to match. That's as deep as that goes. Anyway, now Tally has to continue on at the school for the Uglies by herself. You can see her here struggling through a presentation that nobody can concentrate on due to the fact of just how ugly she is. She keeps trying to reach out to Paris via text, but he's not responding. It's now been a month, so time for the two of them to meet up. Somehow, Tally is able to hack her way through the security force fields by twisting her ring around a bunch. Okay. She makes it to the bridge, but Paris is nowhere to be seen. So now it's time to sneak into the city by putting on this magical pig mask she just found. Alright then. Somehow she recognizes her old pal Paris, who now looks like this. He's surprised to see her, but not so enthused. He didn't go to see her because he says, well, things are different now, and she'll understand when she's pretty. Well, that's pretty harsh. And on top of that, he broke his promise and got his scar removed. I guess he went full douchebag after all. Well, right then, Tally sets off the ugly alarm, and the ugly police show up to arrest her. Man, that has gotta wreak havoc on her self-esteem. So she straps on a conveniently placed bungee jacket and jumps off the building to safety. Okay then. She almost gets caught again later, but gets saved at the last moment by another quote-unquote ugly. This one's name is Shay, and naturally they're gonna be besties. It works out perfectly because they both share the same birthday, so Tally won't need to worry about getting shunned the same way Paris just did. And as a bonus, Shay is gonna teach Tally how to hoverboard. And hey, she picks it up real fast. Well, Shay starts to confide in Tally that she's not real keen on getting the surgery after all. Instead, she wants to go to this mythical place called the Smoke. Well, sure enough, the night before their 16th birthday, Shay is going to run away to go looking for this place called the Smoke. She hands Shay a note with a cryptic message saying how to find her if she ever decides to follow, then pieces on out of there. The next morning, it's time for Tally to finally fix that face, but her name never gets called. Instead, she gets pulled out of line to be taken elsewhere. Tally gets dropped off at another fancy-looking building where she meets Dr. Cable. She tells Tally, we need you to stay ugly for a little bit longer, because your friend Shay has gone missing and we need you to find her. Tally initially refuses, but Dr. Cable tells her that they're just going to let her stay ugly until she decides to help. Again, not doing her self-esteem any favors, but okay. While back at the dorm that night, she gets a surprise visit from Paris. He pushes her to go ahead and cooperate in finding Shay, because you know you want that surgery. So the next day, she heads back to Dr. Cable to agree, and Dr. Cable reveals a couple extra details. Turns out they know about the Smoke and their leader, who is named David, and David is developing a weapon to attack the city and destroy their way of life. So really, we just want your help to find him so we can protect everybody. Well, that sounds reasonable, so Tally agrees, and with her note from Shay in hand, she heads off on her mission. And what does that cryptic note say? Well, basically hoverboard a whole lot until you get to this giant field of white flowers. Okay, done. Nap time. While back in the city, Dr. Cable is thanking Paris for his help in convincing Shay, and to show how grateful they are, hey, how about some bonus surgery? Sounds good, thanks. Well, now Tally's gonna be rudely woken up from her nap by a whole bunch of fire, but luckily she gets rescued by a mysterious stranger wearing steampunk goggles. After a dramatic pause, he introduces himself.
I'm David.
Oh snap, mission accomplished. Well, David quickly finds a hidden tracker on Tally's hoverboard and destroys it. Well, that alerts Dr. Cable that Tally's made contact, so she tells her man to send 2 specials, whatever that means. Well, David is now going to take Tally to an outpost, saying that newcomers don't get to actually see the Smoke until they're vetted, and it's here that she's reunited with Shay. Well, their joy is short-lived when Shay realizes Tally's trying to convince her to come back to the city. Now the next morning, Tally learns all about this team's mission, which is to set fire to these giant fields of white orchids, which were actually developed by the city as a weapon to spread and suck the life out of the planet. Sounds a little far-fetched, and Tally doesn't immediately buy in, so they're going to take her up in their antique helicopter. No, I'm no expert here, but that does look like bad news. So let's lay down some napalm. But just then, Shay falls from the helicopter, and that's when the specials arrive. So what are the specials, you ask? Well, they're extra enhanced pretties with super strength, super speed, and they have sound effects play when they run. Terrific. The team makes a daring escape. Now everybody's left wondering how the specials found them, because it couldn't possibly be the helicopter spewing fire everywhere. No, they must be tracking Tally. Well, David is going to take exception to that, and claim that since Tally helped them, she belongs with the smoke, so they'll be taking her there tomorrow. And here it is, a few huts in the woods. Tally goes snooping for weapons, but finds out they don't really have any. Well, later on, everybody sits down for dinner. And you know, for a camp full of uglies, most people here seem to have it going on face-wise. Doesn't matter though, let's all gather for our fearless leader David's inspirational speech. Looks don't matter, he says. Thinking, learning, reading, choosing. These are what's important. Thank you, David, riveting stuff. Well, now the next day, David is going to teach Tally how to use a crossbow. And almost immediately, she turns into our bargain bin Katniss Everdeen. Time to bond. Now here's my gloves. Well, hold up, Shay clocks those gloves and tells Tally that basically means you're engaged now, so you need to decide for reals whether you're gonna stay or leave. Okay, Tally, time to stop screwing around. Let's find that weapon.
They say you have a weapon.
Good job. David says, yeah, cool, let me show you. And he takes Tally to meet his parents. And his parents are gonna lay the truth on her. That not only does the city hide the fact that their surgery kills a lot of the people who undergo it, but it also creates lesions in the brain that sedates a person and causes a false sense of happiness. And that's not a side effect, that's the purpose. But hey, we have an almost complete cure, which I happen to be holding right here in my hand. It restores free thinking, which would make it the ultimate weapon against Dr. Cable. But the last ingredient for the cure is stuck in the city, while Tally is riddled with guilt, which is the perfect opportunity for David to put the moves on her. But the next morning they get found out, and here come the sound effect runners. Whoa, sound effects on the punches too? Now you know they mean business. But hold up, this special looks familiar. Oh snap, it's our boy Paris. What a twist. Well, Dr. Cable's here too and not too happy. She says, hey Paris, kill David's dad. And Paris is happy to oblige. Oh, that's brutal. And Tally lets it slip in front of everybody that she was in on it.
You didn't tell me that you would hurt anyone.
Well, that's gonna upset her friends a bit. Dr. Cable lets Tally know her procedure's been scheduled, but she books it into a shack, grabs her crossbow, sets off an explosion, then pieces on out of there. Dr. Cable lets her go, takes everybody else prisoner, and destroys everything in the village, including the cure. Yeah, you done screwed up big time, Tally. Well, guess what? David escaped too, and he is understandably in a bad mood. Tally explains that it was a big oopsie, and she now understands the error of her ways. Good enough, let's go save everybody together, in my antique helicopter. Well, apparently it worked because they're immediately back in the city at the dorms, trying to get the first group of kids they come across to incite a rebellion, which is no problem because David's there and he's a bit of a celebrity apparently.
You're David, that's David.
I'm David.
He's David, so let's go riot. And dang, good job with the future Skyfire, guys. Well, now Tally and David are going to take advantage of that distraction to break into where they're holding everybody prisoner, which is no problem thanks to a little hoverboard skills and bungee suits. They quite easily bust everybody out of there, but find out Shay's been taken away to surgery. The clock's ticking, better hurry. And oh, snap, they're too late. This is pretty Shay apparently. Kind of a downgrade. Looks a little bit terrifying if you ask me. But whatever, let's roll with it. Tally is sad they didn't make it in time, but Shay is pretty pleased at her new look. Well, surprise, here comes Pretty Boy Paris and Dr. Cable as well. Now they're gonna force everybody else to get into the surgery pods. But wait, here comes David's antique helicopter with a healthy dose of napalm. Jesus. Those pods aren't even fireproof, but somehow everybody survives, and David's mother grabs the last ingredient needed for the cure, conveniently kept right in that room. Well, good job everybody, let's book it. But whoa, hold up, Paris is up here now. Tally tries to dramatically talk him down, but when Paris starts stroking Tally's face, David gets bad juju and attacks. Well, now we get a showdown, but a regular ugly is clearly no match for a special pretty. But Tally comes to the rescue with her hoverboard. Paris is now hanging precariously over the edge, but looking damn good in the process, until the ledge gives way and he plummets to his death. The rest escape on hoverboards and see that it looks like chaos is breaking out everywhere. And when they make it back to the outskirts of the city, David's mom tells him that she stashed some of the cure in his pocket. Combine it with the final missing ingredient they just stole, and hey, they can test it by curing Shay. But oh, she doesn't want to be cured. So let's call an audible. Tally, you go get the surgery and we'll just test it on you. Tally goes to surrender to Dr. Cable herself.
Make me pretty!
Man, her self-esteem is in the dumps. Cut to a mysterious blonde woman in a swanky apartment, and oh, it's pretty Tally, looking like an over-filtered Instagram post. Well then we cut to black? Man, they were really banking on this being a franchise, huh? Well, I guess I'll see you at the next video then. Uglies 2, Electric Boogaloo. In any case, thanks for watching, please like and subscribe if you haven't, and we'll see you next time.